Hi folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at solving a quadratic equation, actually trying to find an error in another student's work and then solve it correctly. So this is a problem from CPM's. So CPM integrated, this is Math 2, integrated Math 2. This is from section 8.2.2 and number 8-44. So it says, Jamila solves the quadratic equation x squared plus 3x minus 10 equals 8. See her work below. When she checks her solutions, they don't make the equation true. However, Jamila can't find her mistake. Explain her error, then solve the quadratic equation correctly. So if we look at what she's done, here's this part of the equation, x squared plus 3x minus 2. She went ahead and factored it, which she factored it correctly. X squared plus 3x minus 10 does factor to be x plus 5 times x minus 2. But then she went ahead and solved, she took each of these and set them equal to the value of 8. Well, the problem with that is normally if you're going to solve this this way, this is factoring, solve by factoring. But when you solve by factoring, your equation, solve by factoring, so 2 solve by factoring, the equation needs to equal 0, right? So it needs to equal 0 to solve by factoring, because then you use what we call the zero product. Oops, let me get that space in my words there. Zero product property. So if it's not equal to 0, you can't use this zero product property, right? So zero product property means when you factor it, you have these two factors equal to 0. Now you can determine what each of those would be to become a 0, right? Because if this is 0, it doesn't matter what this is. 0 times whatever is 0, right? So you figure out what's going to make this one 0, and then that was also a solution. So that's the zero product property. So what we need to do is she needed to make it equal to 0, and she didn't. So let's take this and resolve it. So x squared plus 3x minus 10 is equal to 8. So the first step is you have to have it equal to 0. So we have to subtract 8 from both sides in order for this then to be 0 on that side. So we zero out that side. Now we have x squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0. So now I can solve this. So the question is, does this factor, right? So can this factor to be to a product of two binomials equaling 0? So there's different ways to determine our factoring, right? I'm going to go through how I would conclude this. So I would look, and I know the first term is x squared. So I know my first terms in my binomials would be x and x. My last term is 18. So what I tend to do is take this 18 and try to break it apart. I want to break it into factors that their sum is 3x, right? So let me show that. So you can use this idea of this diamond where the product is negative 18 and the sum is 3. So I need to find two numbers that multiply to be negative 18, but add to be 3. So I can see that right here. I can see that if I take a positive 6 and a negative 3, and I multiply positive 6 and negative 3, I get a negative 18 for the product, right? That is true. That's my product. And 6 plus negative 3, that my sum is 3. So it's 6 and negative 3. So it would be x plus 6 and x minus 3. So that's my factoring of this quadratic. Now I can use zero product property, and I can set each of these, x plus 6 equal to 0, solve for that one, and x minus 3 equal to 0, and find what makes this x plus 6 equal to 0. Well, it would be subtract 6 from both sides. It would be x equals negative 6. Then the other one here, add 3 to both sides, we'd have x equals 3. So those are my two solutions. So x would equal negative 6 or positive 3 would be the solutions to this quadratic equation. Okay.